landing on cryptex land. Get off the ship and take a walk. Take any guitar and start your own band. Here you can sing, here you can talk, here you can say whatever you want. Here you can stay, become a mutant. Just try to be nice. For hate there is no space. Don't skate on thin ice. You better not run that race. The race of the trolls, the race of the hate. I will show you the rules. Don't hate but create. You are landing on cryptex land. Get off the ship and take a walk. Take any guitar and start your own band. Here you can sing, here you can talk, here you can say whatever you want. Here you can stay, become a mutant. Just try to be nice. For hate there is no space. Don't skate on thin ice. You better not run that race. The race of the trolls, the race of the hate. I will show you the rules. Don't hate, but create. The race of the trolls, the race of the hate. I will show you the pose. Don't hate, but create.
Hello guys, how are you? Cryptex here. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Today I'm gonna do the part 2 reaction of the language analysis that Sergio Dinaro did to the interrogation of Kegan Kline. Yesterday we did the part number 1. Today we're gonna do the part 2. He posted the part 2 today. I have to say that I love the 2 videos he made, but the last 10 minutes I disagree a little bit with him. I think he was very wild with his conclusions, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. Let me see who's here tonight. For now, so far we have Don't Dox Me. Happy to have you here, Don't Dox Me. We have Rebecca as well. Cool to have you here, guys. Just for you to know, next Saturday I'm gonna be with Graz. He invited me to his channel, so we're gonna talk about the case in his channel. So be with us next Saturday. It's gonna be cool. So today is not gonna be very long. I'm just gonna do the last 10 minutes of the Sergio Dinaro's analysis of the case, of the interrogatory to Kegan Kline, the part 2 of his series. The first 40 minutes is as expected. He found a lot of deception indicators in Kegan Kline. We know that that was kind of expected. It's very interesting to see how is he able to detect that those indicators. But I'm not gonna focus on that because it's something that it was kind of expected. He talked about Tony Kline, the potential involvement of Tony Kline in this crime. So it's really interesting, but I don't want to focus on that part. I'm just gonna go right away to the last 10 minutes, which is the part where he made his conclusions, right? So again, to me, his conclusions were kind of wild. You know me, just because I love the guy, I don't want to be like a cheerleader. I disagree with his conclusions, even if those conclusions are aligned with my hypothesis and my ideas. But I don't think that just because he's an expert in language analysis, he can go with those type of conclusions at the end. I think he can say that according to the language analysis I did, this is what I think. I found deception indicators in Kegan Kline. I didn't find any deception indicator in the interrogatory that was made to Richard Allen. But at the end, when you have to make a full conclusion, you have to put the things in context. Especially, he said himself that he's not very involved in the case. He's learning about the case. So here, there's a line. We have to read between the lines as well. We cannot say that everything's black or everything's white. We have to do some type of interpretation. So just to say that I disagree a little bit with his hypothesis or his conclusions. Sorry, even if those conclusions are aligned with my theories or my hypothesis here. Again, I don't know if this is gonna cost me subscribers, followers. Maybe I'm gonna lose a couple of subscribers here, but I have to be honest. In one creator in YouTube, he posted, no, she posted a post in her community page, where she says something about free Richard Allen, and at the end she named a lot of creators, and I was including there. And I really don't like to be in any group here, in any team. I want to do my own thing. I want to think by myself. When we see groups or teams, you are conditioned. You are not free to think. That's my opinion. That's what I see here. You know, this type of pro prosecution groups, when you see maybe, I'm gonna say, Frank Meister, Fix Solves, Christine behind the door. Those people is like there's the unique line of thinking. I don't think they're gonna able to go out of that type of thinking process, because there is a conditionment there. You know what I mean? And it's the same in the other side. When you have these pro Allen teams, or this pro, let's say, free Richard Allen groups, if you don't think like them, I don't know. I don't like to be in any team, in any group. I think there are valid opinions in every side. I like, for example, I love Steve from True Crime Web, who is, let's say, in the right side of the moon. I like HCC, who is in the other side. I like Don't Hate Create, who is in the middle. I think that in this spectrum, there are bright minds in the whole spectrum of the case. People thinking that Richard Allen is maybe guilty, people thinking that Richard Allen is maybe innocent, people thinking that Richard Allen is maybe involved, but not the only one. So I'm not that radical, and I'm not gonna be put in a square. You know what I mean? I'm not part of any team or not part of any group. I want to do my own thing. And if people don't like that, it's fine. We are not here to please everywhere, right? So I'm gonna play the last 10 minutes of this video, which is the part that is really interesting to me, and then I'm gonna come back to the chat and we can talk about it. So let me please share the last 10 minutes of this video, and we can talk about it in the chat. Thank you, guys.
From on your interview said you either said 12 to 2 or 12 to 3, and then you came back home. Okay, his response doesn't even matter here because he timestamped this. He said that on that day I was with my dad and we went to my grandparents' house from 12 to either 2 or 3. He couldn't tell on the video whether he said 2 or 3. It doesn't matter. He timestamped himself an alibi, which means he timestamped the murder, which is very common. And I've talked about that in other videos, and you get to see it here too. So just the 60th indicator that he committed the murder because he timestamped it, and that's it. So when I gave the explanation of all of the timeline that the detective says this stacks, he explains that whole thing to him. He lays out the entire timeline to him. We have this, we have the evidence, and in the end, Kegan sticks to the indicators that he's been using. I don't know, I would never, I don't know. The last thing he says in there is, I don't know, I don't know. And so the interview interrogation ends. Now, my question is, what happened? What happened after that? Because it's not even like I put all this together. I mean, it would be one thing. I've showed you how I got the information, how I know that his lies, his deception is deception. That just gives you a clearer picture of both how to learn, utilize deception detection techniques, how to use them in practice, what they look like, and how you can make decisions and take action when you determine that somebody's being deceptive. Then you have the ability to identify that, and then you have the self-confidence to say, that's deception, and I am going to act. I'm going to take action based on what I know is deception. Because if you're in a situation where, and this is just the fallback, this is the scenario that is probably the easiest for most people to identify with, is a cheating significant other. If you're in a relationship, let's say it's a long-term relationship, let's say you've been together for 5-6 years, and you're seeing these indicators, I would never cheat on you. I would never do anything like that. You have out of sequence information. They've been talking about this person. They're giving you indicators of deception when they talk about them. You confront them about cheating, and then they give indicators of deception. I would never cheat on you. Instead of saying, I didn't have an affair. I'm not having an affair. I'm not cheating on you. They say, I would never do that. That is a direct indicator. I want you to see this example, this here, and know with certainty and confidence to make a decision and take an action. Say, I know you're lying. This is over. I'm done. I don't need you to admit it because you got the admission. Deception in their answer is also an admission. So to have to hear the words only comes from a lack of self-confidence that you believe the deception that you know. So that's why I am trying to teach this and trying to be so detailed about teaching it. So to sum everything up here, we've seen the entire timeline. We now know that Kegan Kline is a pedophile, a child porn producer and distributor. He's been convicted of that. We also know that the detectives who are looking into this and the FBI, so this investigation was in coordination with the FBI. Now, I'm going to speculate because at this point, I don't know why he wouldn't have been charged with the murder. They have enough. The detective literally says this stuff stacks, and then he lays out the timeline. So it's not like I figured out new information here. They know this, and they have it, and they didn't use it. So the fact that they didn't use it against him, my only speculation that I have here is that the FBI maybe didn't allow them to make the murder charge because maybe they wanted him to testify against his father. Maybe his father was guilty of a lot more and they want Kegan to serve as an informant against his father. I don't know. But
I agree with him, and this is my theory since the information we learned on the Grissom Air Force Base, now even before. I think it's really evident that Kegan Kline is involved in this crime. You know that he is, in my opinion, the mastermind of this crime. The fact that they knew that he was involved and he was not put behind bars right away when they knew that he was luring the girls just days before the time of the events. And also the fact that after his confession at the Grissom Air Force Base, we have the search of the Wabash River and the arrest of Richard Allen. To me, and I always said that in my logic, in my mind, is because he made a deal with law enforcement. He was some type of informant before the interrogatory of Kegan Kline at the Grissom Air Force Base. I agree with him. He was maybe law enforcement was using Kegan Kline to have additional information and maybe to try to get the arrest of Tony Kline. And after the confession of Kegan Kline at the Grissom Air Force Base, he made a deal just to snitch on Richard Allen. That's my opinion. That's how I see the thing. Sometimes we are very focused on the details, which is awesome. That's the way. Also, we have to look into the details of this case, but we have also to have some perspective. We have to see the whole forest here, and just the fact that he gave that confession at the Grissom Air Force Base. Law enforcement went to the search of the Wabash River, and they arrested Richard Allen. To me, there's a clear connection there, and to me, that confession was really valid. He gave a lot of details. He said that he was at the he was driving with his father to the cemetery. He waited there inside the car while his father and another guy, bridge guy, were committing the crime. Then his father came back to his car and told him we had fun, and then he left the area. Some item was discarded into the Wabash River when they went and driving back to Peru. And to me, that's the way I see the connection between the clients and the murders. This is a main element, let's say, but of course we know that Kegan Kline was the one behind the Anthony Shots account, and there's multiple elements connecting Kegan Kline to this crime. We cannot ignore the fact that he was looking for the Marathon gas station address on the day of the murders, that he was sending money to Libby via the Cash App application, that he was supposed to meet the girls at that day at the bridge. In that message, they don't talk about the specific area or location, the bridge, but of course, in the context of the conversation, he was supposed to meet Libby at the girls at the bridge on that day. Anyways, just to say that before continuing with the video, I agree with him here. Maybe Kegan was some kind of informant for law enforcement, and I think there was a negotiation there.
But for some reason, they didn't bring charges against him. Now, why is that significant? Well, it means that this case stayed open, that the detectives are not allowed, I'm guessing that they're not allowed to bring charges against Kegan Kline. Either that or they are allowed and they chose not to. But either way, they wanted to close this case. And that detective, I don't know why I can never remember his name, but the detective that did the Richard Allen interrogation, let's not forget about Richard Allen here. That detective knows all of this information. He knows who the murderer is. All of the investigators know that Kegan Kline is the murderer. For some reason, Kegan wasn't charged. But there's a crime here that is equally significant to murdering those little girls, which is the police department making a conscious decision that they needed to close that case. I have indicators that that detective wanted to close the case so that he could get a promotion. So they railroaded an innocent man. They set up and planted evidence. They clearly planted that bullet. Then they utilized junk science. There's no way that the extraction marks on a bullet casing are going to be unique. There's just no way. I mean,
This is kind of wild. I agree that the extraction marks is junk science, especially when you are comparing a spent round to an unspent round. But to say in that way that the bullet was planted, this is a little bit too much, in my opinion. So what he's doing here is doing a language analysis. At that point, I'm fine, but just jumping from that language analysis to say that the bullet was planted by law enforcement, this is a big jump there. To me, it's kind of wild. I disagree with his comment here. I'm not saying that this is impossible. We know that law enforcement, they are able to plant stuff, and we know a lot of cases here, but that conclusion is not a direct consequence of his language analysis. So I didn't like that. I think that if he's doing a language analysis, stay there, make your conclusion based on your language analysis. I think I was expecting some type of conclusion like I found a lot of the deception indicators in the interrogation made to Kegan Kline, and I didn't find any deception indicators in the interrogation made to Richard Allen. That's perfect. But how can he say that the bullet was planted? So there's a big jump there, and I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I don't see the direct link there. I didn't like that connection he made, but anyways, let's continue here.
I mean, every time you clean the gun, it changes the gun a little bit. When you scrape it with a steel wool on the inside to get the caked on gunpowder off, you're going to slightly change the extractor. They used junk science and they planted a round and they railroaded an innocent man so that they could close a case, so that that detective could get a promotion. I'm not going to buy the argument that they railroaded an innocent man to give the family closure, because they could have arrested the murderer and given the family closure, but they chose not to. So I don't know. Please leave comments. Please tell me what you think. How did this case end up like this? Because to me, when I say I'm 100% certain, oftentimes other people disagree with me. I am.
That's a problem I have also. He cannot say that he's 100% certain or confident in that type of conclusion. He cannot say just because he made a language analysis of the interrogation of Kegan Kline and Richard Allen that one is the murderer or the killer and the other one is innocent, and also that the bullet was planted. He lost the whole series here. I was really excited with the job he was doing. I think he's great, and he has a great background in military. He was part of the CIA. He's great doing his job, and to me, his job is analyzing those transcripts, doing language analysis. The first 1 hour, 40 minutes were awesome. But the last 10 minutes, he lost it, in my opinion. And I know that some of you are not going to be happy with the things I'm just saying here, but I was a little bit disappointed. But it is what it is. Let's continue here.
Very curious if you could possibly disagree with me at the end of this. Is there anyone left on earth who watches this entire video who says, nope, I am 100% sure that Richard Allen killed them? Because I literally don't see how it could be possible. So I hope that, number one, if you were following this case, that this gives you closure on this. You no longer need to worry, is Richard Allen innocent? Is all of the effort and energy that I put into talking about this case, is this going to come back and bite me in the ass? Am I going to put myself out there and say he's innocent and then DNA evidence is going to come back and link him to the case? No, it's not. All the energy that you put in to trying to help him is going to be warranted. Could he possibly be guilty? He's not. There is no possibility. There's no way. You know the truth now. You know the reality.
I don't understand. How can he say that? He cannot say that. He cannot say that he's 100% sure that Richard Allen is innocent. How can he say that? It's not possible.
Make a decision on what you want to do. Do you want to continue talking about this? Do you want to try and help get Richard Allen out of prison? Because I'm going to start looking into that. The closest case that I have to this is the Ashley Benefield case. She was convicted of a crime that she was not guilty of, and she is in prison now. And that's wrong, and I don't know what to do about it, but this channel, I'm going to use this platform to advocate for people who are wrongly imprisoned. And I never expected that this is where this channel would go, but this just feels like my calling now. So I'll analyze, I'll put videos out. If the person's guilty, I'm putting out that they're guilty, and then I'm moving on. I don't care if somebody's innocent or guilty, but if they're innocent and then they get convicted, I'm going to try and figure out how to make connections to get these cases looked at. I'm new to this, but you know, all of my experience was through the military and the Department of Defense. So I'm transitioning from a military utilization of these skills into using these skills within our justice system. So I'm going to try and make some connections and see what I can do. But with that being said, I'll say I hope this helps you to decide how you want to move forward with this. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned about deception detection. If you want to try to do something, then let's figure it out. I don't know what to do yet, but I'm going to also try and figure that out. So, and I'll keep people posted on my channel.
Okay, that was his video. I think he just lost it at the end. The last 10 minutes is like he erased the whole series with those wild conclusions. I think if you think that Richard Allen is innocent, this is not the way to help him, let's say, because it's not. It's just crazy. You cannot jump like that from language analysis to those conclusions. So I just disagree with those conclusions. As I said, I'm not going to stay so long tonight. Those were the 10 minutes I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna read your comments here, guys, in the chat. One thing I agree with him is that the investigation was rushed. It feels that like law enforcement was rushing the investigation, especially after the arrest of Richard Allen. For some reason, I don't know. This investigation was cold during 5 years. Cold, nothing happened, zero developments. And when they had that information about Richard Allen, which I think came from Kegan Kline, they tried to convict Richard Allen right away. And I think if actually Richard Allen is involved, they had a lot of time, I don't know, to do a sting operation, to do a more proper investigation, but they arrested him in a matter of like 1 or 2 months after the confession of Kegan. It's like they had the need to arrest someone, and this is weird. I asked myself why were they doing that? And some things, and this is gonna sound like a conspiracy theory, I know, but it's weird that after Richard Allen was put behind bars, Doc Carter is now resigning. He has a medal on his chest. He has a big star here. So maybe he didn't want to resign, to leave the department without a conviction. And to me, they rushed the investigation. They thought that they had the right guy, and everything that they were able to find after finding the guy was just confirmation bias. And again, I don't think the process here was correctly conducted. The bullet situation was just junk science. They didn't have enough evidence to convict him, to arrest him. And even though he was arrested based on that bullet theory, that we know that is just bullshit. So a lot of things here just stink. I will criticize forever the law enforcement here. They need to be accountable. But one thing is that, and the other thing is to accept this type of wild conclusions, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go to read your comments here, guys, and let's see, what do you think about? I know that some of you are not gonna be happy, but that's what I think. So Don't Dox Me is asking to hit the like. So please, guys, hit the like. Good point, Don't Dox Me. Monday. If you Google Old Camden Road, has a parking lot in a tiny blue bridge and a trailhead, just like Ricky tried to tell law enforcement. Yeah, good point. Good point. I think everything that law enforcement was, all the pieces that they were trying to fit together were just confirmation bias. They were rushing the investigation. But it doesn't mean that Richard Allen is not connected at all as well. So just to be clear, what is my opinion here? Analyset, had they charged Kegan Kline, I think they would have sought the death penalty. And Kegan Kline would have named names. We need to figure out what important people were on his Anthony Shots client list. Judges, officials. That's a very good point. The fact that the Anthony Shots or the Kegan Kline was not officially involved by law enforcement in this crime is maybe because, someone with power, again, this is a very small town, maybe someone with power was involved in that Anthony Shots account, and they were trying to protect someone. I don't know. This is a good point. I don't think it's a wild conspiracy. Betty, I don't know what's that. Annalise said, I don't think Kegan or Tony did the crime, but I think they know what happened, more or less. I think they were actually participating, and most likely Kegan was the one coordinating the whole situation, and probably Tony and Brice Guy were the actual murderers. Again, as I said before, I think we tried to underestimate Kegan Kline. Everyone is trying to think about Kegan as the fat guy behind the computer, a lazy guy, not able to participate in some type of operation like this one. But I don't want to repeat the whole Kegan Kline shows I made, but just basic elements or information like the testimony of Kyla. Remember that meeting that was supposed to happen at the Galveston Park, and Kegan was pissed because Kyla she showed up with a girlfriend, and Kegan said something like, I would like to cut your throat, and I would watch you bleed out." To me, Kegan had some type of fantasy with throats since years ago, and that situation was escalating with over time, and maybe that was happening in Delphi. There are a lot of dots that I can see leading to that situation: the Marathon gas station, the confession of Kegan at the Grissom Air Force Base, Kegan sending money to Libby via the Cash App application, Kegan luring the girls days before the date of the event, Kegan supposing to meet Libby on the 13th at the Monon High Bridge. So, anyways, let's continue here. Analyset. We discuss all angles of the case. It's not about imparting information true or false. Yeah, I agree. He was a little bit toxic, but shit happens. So Australia is here. My friend Zeke from the TD21. Happy to have you here. The royal we. He's saying that based on Holman's own words during the interrogation. Yes, the conclusion is based on language analysis. Yeah, exactly. Analyset. Outline of the crime. 1. 3 people involved. 2. Some people know what happened and they've talked. 3. RD. What is RD? Ricky Davis described the box cutter in June 2017. 4. Confessions happen inside prisons when prisoners are stressed. Yeah, again, how did Ricky Davis know about the box cutter in 2017? This is one of the $1 million questions, and in this case we have a lot of $1 million questions here. Don Doxme is saying hello. The royal way. Holman denied planting the bullet, of course. What do you expect? Out of nowhere. Did you watch Sergio's analysis of the interrogation? I watched it. Yeah, I watched it. But I think it's very wild to conclude that the bullet was planted. Like, sorry, my dog is crazy now. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. She's really mad. I don't know. Barking at nothing, as usual, when she gets bored. So again, just to say that it's wild. You can formulate hypotheses about that. You can say that this bullet situation was weird, but to say that 100% the bullet was planted, I think is too much. Analyze. People pick up firearm cartridges, spend and unspent. Lots of ways for these items to travel. But in my opinion, the science was faulty when a round was fired, of course. It's like you are comparing apples with... my dog is driving me crazy. It's like you are comparing apples with oranges. You cannot compare the extraction marks of an unspent. Sorry, guys, I have to check on my dog. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. She was barking to another dog who was at the other side of the window. So, yeah, the way they compare the marks, the extraction marks of one bullet that was not fired to another one that was fired is just crazy. It's comparing apples with oranges. It's not the way to conduct an investigation. It's like you are trying to reproduce the marks like by it's not acceptable. I agree with you. From the theory 21, don't forget the rumor of when and how the round was. Yeah, but again, it's a rumor. So USA Libertarian, he goes way off the rails here. I agree 100%. That's my point. I think he erased. He had a very good series of language analysis until the last 10 minutes. The conclusions were really wild. I agree with you, USA. Analyset. That was the context concerning the unspent round. I agree. Rick arrest, October 30, election, November 4. Yeah, it's a very interesting date. Data, sorry. We cannot ignore that. And yeah, sounds like a conspiracy theory, but to me, they rushed the investigation. They had more time to. If Richard Allen was actually the guy, they had more time to gather additional information, to gather actual evidence, because we didn't see any direct evidence connecting Richard Allen to the crime. Everything was circumstantial. I understand that circumstantial evidence is valid as well, but we know that here we have a lot of missing pieces. So, and Doc Carter resigning after the arrest of Richard Allen or after the conviction. And yeah, the election situation after the arrest of Richard Allen is special. I agree. USA Libertarian, how can anyone be 100% certain when they are doing behavior or language analysis? We only resort to that in cases we cannot be certain. Again, 100% with you. Dave, you do realize Kegan Kline was cleared a long time ago? Yes, that's my point, but I don't buy what happened. And I don't believe in everything law enforcement tells you. I think we have to read between the lines. We have to have some type of perspective here. And you do realize also, Dave, that in a lot of cases there are informants. In a lot of cases there are negotiations between people involved in crimes and law enforcement, or you don't realize that. So we have just to close the eyes and say that because law enforcement cleared Kegan Kline, we have to accept that. Law enforcement, they cleared Richard Allen. They put cleared in that box after he went to talk to Dan Doolin. So I don't get your comment here. I understand that you believe in a blind way to everything that law enforcement says, but negotiations happen, deals happen in this type of crimes, snitch happens. So anyway, that's my opinion. Don't dox me. Got Greeno on my mind. He keeps coming up in my data. I think language analysis is junk science. I disagree with you, Junior, but it's fine. In 2022, law enforcement said no bar is being cleared, 100%. And this is a strategy because if they say that someone was cleared and at the end that was not the case, he was actually the murderer, or he was actually the someone. My dog. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. She's driving me crazy. I'm gonna close the door again. So you see what's happening here? They said that nobody's been cleared, but they cleared Richard Allen. You know. And at the end, Richard Allen was the one who was put behind bars, who was convicted. So it doesn't make sense. The royal way. When someone denies something they are not accused of, they are probably guilty of that thing. Holman denied planting the round when he was never accused of that. Okay, I understand. This is a very good point. I didn't remember that. I don't know if you are listening to my dog barking or to my voice. So sorry for that tonight. She's kind of upset, let's say. Analyset. We don't know he was actually cleared, but he got neutralized with 43 years in prison for CSAm. Neutralized, let's see. I don't think he's gonna serve 43 years. Sorry, guys, I'm cutting the flow, but I don't know what's happening with my dog. I had to close that window. Sorry for that. So yeah, he got neutralized with 43 years, but in the case there was a negotiation here. He's gonna serve maybe 10 years. He's not gonna serve 43 years. I'm positive, but speculating, right? That's my theory. Veronica, how are you? Happy to have you here. Don't dox me. I need Drano to delete Greeno. I don't know what are you talking about. You're talking about Greeno. Dave. I think Dave is a good friend of Kegan. Maybe no, I'm just kidding. CSAm doesn't make someone a murderer. God damn. Yeah, but you cannot stay in the surface. You have to dip further, Dave. And it's not only about CSAm. You know that there was a confession made by Kegan Kline. So don't stay there. We have to see the whole picture here. It's true. No planted bullet, in my opinion, was there on the 14th February 2017. And Rick never denied the bullet in the keepsake box was his. Yeah, it's a good point. I really don't think the bullet was planted. So I disagree, but I understand why people are suspicious about it. Again, also. And I said, Dave doesn't make him a murderer, but the kiddie porn he was trading or selling made him about equal to a murderer. And again, it's not. Yeah, it's. No, I wouldn't say it's equal. Maybe it's worse, but there are other elements connecting Kegan to the crime, in my opinion, as I said before. Veronica. Okay. USA Libertarian. What guys like this never do is take an online case that later has a conclusion to prove them right or wrong. Understandably so, because those are rare, but they cannot be certain. Okay. Diane, thank you for looking in the Delphi case. Good to have a person like you to care and to take action. We are with you. You're talking about Sergio Dinaro. Yeah, it's good to have new faces looking into the case, for sure. Minu, I think some of the pressure was the Wabash shares that yielded zero they had to justify that spent money. I don't think that the result was zero. I think it's the opposite. I think they found something there, and that's why they arrested Richard Allen. I see it in a different way. They found something, and it's easy to justify that money. It's very easy to justify for law enforcement. They can use that situation for its own benefit. They can do a press conference. Hey, look, we were so involved in solving this case that even if that was expensive, we looked for 5-6 weeks, and at the end, sorry, we couldn't find anything. But that demonstrates that we are really trying to solve this case. But they didn't do that. Oh my God. What's going on? Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Sorry, guys. I have to put my dog in this room. If not, okay, I have a guest. Her name is Cripsy. Now she looks a little bit calmer. So again, I think they found something in the Wabash River. Let's continue here. USA. It's a science indeed, but has not been tested. Analyze it. I think Kegan knows things, but neither him nor his dad did the crime. What do you think that, Anna? I want to know, what do you think that? Tell us why. Veronica. What bothers me is Richard Allen was involved. What bothers me, if Richard Allen was involved, I wish the state did a better job explaining how and not separate him from Kegan Kline. Yeah, I agree with you. But if they did a negotiation with Kegan, maybe that's the explanation. You know what I mean? Dave is being annoying for real. I'm making stuff up because I'm formulating hypotheses. Okay. Monday. Why do the girls have different unalive date on headstones? Yeah, that's another interesting thing. Another clerical error. There are a lot of clerical errors here. Junior, they found the tip. Is why they arrested Ricky. Junior, you don't believe that for real. You were not born yesterday. They didn't find the tip. That's impossible. That's just bullshit. We cannot buy that. It's just insane to think that was the actual situation. It's beyond the logic. You know what I mean? It's so. Anyways, please kick out Dave. Maybe he's deserving to being kicked out. I like people disagreeing with me, but when they are disrespectful, I don't like it. The Royal Way Cryptex. I left 3 comments above that explain how the planted bullet theory is based on. Yeah. I just read your comment and I understand why you were saying that. But anyways, even if that's the case, you cannot just conclude that 100% that's what happened. You know what I mean? And this is the tail of my dog. So she's a little bit better now. Okay, let me go for more comments here, guys. Oh, the work cut Electric Cat is here. Hi, Finn. How are you? Happy to have you here. Finn is one of the creators who believes that the bullet was planted. We had Finn like two weeks ago, maybe, Finn, explaining your theory, which is very interesting, by the way. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that at all, but I don't think that was the case here. But I understand your concerns in that regards. And I said, Doc Carter was due to retire. Prosecutor McClellan, in an interview, said how simple it all become once. How simple it all become once the unspent round was matched. Round equal Richard Allen, equal bridge guy, equal abductor, equal jury bodied. Yeah. Another coincidence, huh? This is full of coincidences here, this case. Monday, do research, Kelsey. Can you keep your tail in one place, please? Thank you. So say hello to the guys. Tell the guys what is your theory. Cripsy. No? Go down. Okay. Stay silent. Well, at least she's not barking. Don't dox me. Okay, guys, please hit the like. This is an important message from my dog. USA Libertarian. He's drawing logical conclusions based on inferences, but he cannot actually be certain of them. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. 100%. Rick Allen already admitted he committed the murder and that no one helped him. You don't believe him? I think his confessions are very questionable. We don't have any details in that confessions. He just said, I did it. What kind of confession is that? And the only confessions where we can find some details is the one he made to Monica Wall, which is even more questionable. So no, I don't necessarily believe that those confessions are factual. But the confession, yes, but not what he's confessing. Especially when he was in that Westville correctional facility for, I think, more than 1 year. So no. Fins. In the first episode, he covers how Richard Allen is totally innocent. I don't think he can conclude that. What he can conclude is that he didn't find any indicator of deception. That's my point. It's not that he's able to say that he's totally innocent. He's able to say, in my opinion, that he was not able to find any signs of deception. Those are two different things. Veronica, if Kegan Kline was connected to Delphi, I wonder why law enforcement would say they are not. Again, because in my opinion, there was a negotiation there, and that explains the whole situation, especially when we have the confession of Kegan Kline at the Grissom Air Force Base, which led to the Wabash River, which led to the arrest of Richard Allen. And as I said, Kelsey contacted Anthony Schultz because he was one of the last people to contact Libby. No surprises there. Nothing nefarious. Yeah. It's true. I believe the one missing piece they needed was the male subject that walked past the Freedom Bridge witnesses. They knew no other male was on the trail except that male subject. Yeah. Don't dox me. The Supreme Court threw out science on a unspent bullet casing, but unfortunately, it takes a while to appeal there. Yeah. The appealing process is not going to happen tomorrow. This is going to take years for sure. And I said, a lot of us believe the confessions were coerced. or maybe not necessarily coerced, but in some type of conditions where your mind is not in the right place. So anyways, the confessions are questionable for sure. USA Libertarian. Believing someone you are sure is a murderer without convincing evidence is an interesting stance. 100%. Analyzed. Maybe law enforcement knows Kegan and Tony have some involvement, but if they cannot connect the dots, form the nexus or whatever, suspicion goes nowhere. The nexus is there. The nexus is the Anthony Shots account. The nexus is the confession of Kegan Kline. If a confession is not a nexus, what is a nexus? I know that the legal term of nexus is special, but Anthony Shots and Kegan Kline confessing, there's a nexus there. Dave, if Brian Cover confessed, you would be saying his confession was coerced too. You're being really annoying. But anyways, I don't know why you're here if you are just trying to troll the chat. If Klein has any involvement in this, and I don't rule it out, my bet would be it is remotely, Dropbox, etc. I don't think he was on scene. Maybe. I'm not close to that scenario. That's also a very potential possibility. It makes sense as well, of course. The problem is that the nature of the crime scene tells you that, in my opinion, there were multiple perpetrators at the crime site. The fact that we don't have any defensive injuries in the hands of the girls, to me, there were multiple perpetrators acting physically. You know what I mean? And when Kegan says, or he tells that confession about the cemetery where he drove his father there, so that's why I think he was actually at the location with his father. That's my opinion. With his father and Bridge Guy. Veronica, Dave, I haven't dived into Idaho 4, but with little info I know, it appears Brian Koberger is guilty. Yeah, I think so. I have the same opinion, but again, I don't have enough information. I didn't look too much in that case. Minu. Okay. Rebecca, that Dropbox has some top people's names in it. That's what they needed to hide. Yeah, good point. This is a good theory. USA Libertarian, if Richard Allen was drugged up, then obviously they would be coerced. Yeah, you mean. Let me go here. 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm gonna delete Dave. I usually don't do that, but I don't think he's being serious here. You can disagree being serious and being respectful, but when you're trying just to troll the chat, sorry, bye-bye. And I said, there is no indication that, okay, you're talking about Idaho. Let me go here with the trial junkie. Jerry Holman was told to get a confession, and when he didn't, they arrested anyway. Yeah, he did a very bad job, a very poor job during that interrogation he made to Richard Allen. His job there was to get a confession. He was not able to get a confession. There are two possibilities. One is because Richard Allen is innocent, so he didn't confess, or because Jerry Holman was that incompetent and he didn't have enough evidence to to obtain a confession during the interrogation. You know what I mean? So, anyways, bad job by the investigators here, and not surprised or not impressed by the job Holman did, because actually he was not able to obtain any confession from Richard Allen. So that interrogation was just like a loss of time, you know. USA Libertarian, is that the logic of the people on your side? Then you probably don't see the problem. Yeah, I agree. I think he's out of the channel, out of the chat now, but anyways. Okay, analyzed. Holman said they didn't plan to arrest Richard Allen the day of the last interrogation, but they did. I figured they had something incriminating, but not really. So why did they make the arrest then? They did the arrest because that was part of the plan. If they were not able to obtain an confession during that interrogation, the next step is to put Richard Allen in a solitary confinement to obtain those confessions anyways, regardless if he's guilty, if he's involved, or if he's innocent. They knew that in those type of conditions, a confession was a sure thing. They like that they would be able to have a confession, you know. Mark and Betty, Cheer Cryptex, I enjoyed this show. Thank you so much. I'm glad. And guys, please hit the like, subscribe if you're not, share the video. I would appreciate that. Rick pissed Holman off. Yeah, and Holman pissed Rick. The way he talked about, I didn't like at all the way Holman talked about Richard Allen's wife, about the girls, saying that your fucking wife. This is like not elegant at all. And at one point he said, "Those fucking girls." Come on, what were in your brain, man? It's fucking stupid, this guy. Annalise said, the girls were interested in forensics. I bet they pick up a shiny and fired cartridge in the gravel or grass. Couldn't be in a pocket. I don't know about that, but anyways, digital. Flint Farmer was also arrested very shortly before the Wabash search. So I personally haven't 100% linked that search to Kegan Kline. Before the ending of the Wabash search or before starting the Wabash search? I don't follow your opinion about Flint Farmer, but I'm gonna look into that. It's interesting. Digital, thank you. I love digital comments, by the way. USA Libertarian, confessions have to be verified with corroborating facts to be credible, of course. Analyset, because Holman messed up and didn't get a confession, but that's not exactly grounds for immediate arrest. Yeah. Kelt is here. How are you, Kelt? Don't dox me. She agrees with me. They rushed for their own benefits. Yeah, I think so. Annalise said, my husband used to empty his pockets into dishes and boxes on the bedside table, shotgun shells, and lots more. I really don't know too much about guns, guys. That's why I had Finn 2 weeks ago here to talk to us about the extraction marks. It was a good show. You can check on it if you haven't. Kelt, do you know if Kathy Allen's brother was driving a Harley? In the picture of the box, there is something that say Harley Riders. Yeah, he was like into motorcycles. I don't know if it was a Harley, maybe, but I think he died in a motorcycle accident, right? So one of the theories is that in Peru there is this motorcycle or used cars and motorcycle shop and garage, and maybe that's where the Klines and the Allens met. Is I have a video about that in my membership only box, let's say. Finn, funny thing about that is Rick Allen was cleared, and even longer time ago, exactly. Kegan was never cleared. It was supposed that no one here was cleared, but we know that Richard Allen was cleared. That's interesting. Huh? Oh, Fishy is here. How are you, Fishy? Don't hate, create. First, your name is too long. Second, truth, fish, orange, white eyes. What do you mean? Okay. Analyzed. They made an arrest on weak evidence and had to get more evidence. Without the confessions, the state would lost, in my opinion. Hello, Fishy, again. How are you? Missing you. We have to do a show together soon. One of my best or my favorite creators here. Trial Junkie. I say with the Damol in the jury, they would have found not guilty. Okay. Finn again. Nick wouldn't even say anybody else was cleared after the trial. Rick Allen is the only person we know was actually cleared. It's true. Law enforcement always said no one here is cleared. And to me, that's a normal strategy, because if you say in public that, I don't know, Daniel Nations, let's say, or Ron Logan, if you say that they were cleared and after you find some evidence linking those people to the crime, this is going to be a problem during the trial. So that's why they said no one here is cleared, but they cleared Richard Allen. You know, it's a mess. It's a mess. Okay, let me go a little bit here. This is not exactly statement analysis. It's specific to deception detection. Analysis. I think body language is junk science. Statement analysis is more accurate and more structured, in my opinion. I agree 100%. There is more science in language analysis than in body language. I'm there with you 100%. Okay, Annalisa is talking about my dog. Your dog is spoiled. Mine is crawling under the bed and raising hell because we have a thunderstorm. She's spoiled, and she's a little bit, how can I say, maybe insecure. She doesn't like to be with people. She doesn't like to be with other dogs. She was the last of her, how can I say, family, let's say. All of her brothers and sisters, they were taken before her. So she was the last one. So maybe she has some trauma. She's so cool, so cute, but sometimes she's just crazy. And yes, I spoiled her a lot. Hey, Creepy is Cripsy. Hello, Jar. How are you? Hi, Doggo. Okay. I think my aunt got tickets to that. Okay, guys. Okay, now we still have some comments here. Let me advance in the chat. And I said, that is a persistent rumor, but who would have Kegan Kline sign an NDA, no disclosure agreement? That would be more likely to have to do with the media. I think a negotiation happened. That's my opinion. Digital, can you imagine if Liggett had lost the election and someone with integrity had been elected sheriff? Good point. Enchanting Vibe, is there a connection with Kegan Kline and Ron Logan? Not that we know. According to the Ricky Davis information, they were all participating in the crime. Kegan was giving Barner funds to Ron Logan, but yeah, at this point, this is just speculation. We really don't know if. I believe that Ricky Davis is telling the truth, but I don't know if the information he received is correct or not. So yeah, speculation. The court of public opinion. Holman looks guilty as hell. How did a completely unethical liar, a person largely responsible for fourth son suicide, become an investigator? Yeah, he's not the only one. Okay, let me go here. Fishy. I would expect the parish which did this to have some sexually deviant corn. Okay. What about Roger Logan? Don't dox me. I think there's a strong connection with Kegan Kline, Tony Kline, and Ron Logan. And Ron Logan with the Delphi police chief of 2017. The chief supposedly told Anna's grandpa not to allow the dog across the creek when searching for the two girls. Okay. The thing Kegan Kline has said implied to me that he knows things about the crime, but he didn't do it and wasn't there. By extension, neither was Tony, in my opinion. I think he knows who did it, that he was told about it. But when you say the things Kegan Kline has said imply that he knows things, what about his confession? You know, his confession is something he said as well. And he's putting in, oh shit, I think, guys, my computer is gonna be out of battery. Give me 1 second. I was at the point to lose my charge, my power. Okay, so again, Kegan confessed that, I'm not gonna repeat it. He did the confession about him being there at the cemetery with Tony. So why don't you put weight on that confession? I don't know. Enchanting Vibe. So the timestamp is 59 minutes fast for all the Hoosier Harvester video. Was it changed to fit? Richard Allen admitted he was Anthony Shots. What? What you saying? The Royal We. Thank you, Cryptex, about that. I don't know. Okay. Let me go here. There were no tips on Richard Allen, and they ruined his life for now. He will get back at them. Digital was not Mullen police chief 2017, and Starred was fire chief. Yeah, I think it was. Has Crime Night channel disappeared? I think he was banned from YouTube. I think there's another platform called Lowtooth or another platform, and he moved to that platform. That's what I heard. I didn't follow Crime Night. I wonder why Old Nicky hasn't been promoted. That's coming soon, in my opinion. Don't dox me. A very important message here, a very important comment. Smash that like and subscribe. Christy, hello Christy. The girls knew British guy. Abby knew Ron Logan. USA Libertarian. Cripsy is shocked they didn't retrieve the bark. Yeah, she is. Now she's here, just beside me. Calm. Boogies. Enchanting vibe. Funny you mentioned that it's been confirmed by law enforcement that the time was wrong and it was around 1:30. Not sure about that. Analyzet. And another version of Trolls insists free Rick Allen. Neither end of a spectrum is helpful. I agree. I agree. Yeah, confirm how exactly. From the Theory 21, dropped out, driving country. So sorry for the delay. Cryptex, does it seem like? Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna end the live soon here. Thank you all of you for being here. Next Saturday, I'm gonna be with Grass. He invited me to his channel, so please join us. We're gonna talk about the case. During the week, I think I'm gonna be very busy at work, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to stream, but I'm gonna let you know, guys, if I can do it, if I can make it happen. I'm missing a lot of comments here, so thank you, guys. Thank you, all of you. Jessica, Finn, Don't Dox Me, Annalisette, Trial Junkie, all of you guys, Jackal, Atalanta, Finn, a lot of people tonight. Carol Miller, Fishy, of course, Christy, Enchanting Vibe, Shubugis, Digital, Jer, all of you guys, thank you so much. Stay in touch. See you.